everybody has an opportunity to change their mindsets, but it has to do with their beliefs, with their righteousness, as you said, that they want to make that difference. So you may have to, at some point, say, you know what, well, this isn't working for me right now, and this is not the example that I want to give my boys, my daughter. My daughter will say, well, if he doesn't love me, he's not beating me, what's happening? Because I see this at home and mom doesn't go, she stays. So it's normal. And we definitely need to change that, because now in modern days, I think more women are opening up, they're awakening, and they're realizing it's not just 50-50. We want to give 100%. Each of us have to give 100% to make this relationship work, to make this family work, that it stays together, and that we can give what we can give, everything that we can give to our children to make them successful in their lives in the future.
La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. La ilaha.
We're here in the first episode of Voice of Truth, and today we'll be speaking on family structure, and I'm here with Mrs. Rossana Briceno. How are you doing? Good morning, Mrs.
Good morning. I'm well. I'm excited to have this conversation with you. Thank you for inviting.
Well, no problem. It's an honor to have you here as well, you know. Just basically doing some small research on you, and I see that you have a very long list of things that you do. Like, for example, you're the former chair of the Spouses of CARICOM Leaders Action Network. You're an executive member now. This institution or whatever, it addresses social and human development in the Caribbean. You hold a bachelor's in special education and master's in education leadership. You also specialize in diagnostic assessment and curriculum development. You began your career at the Stella Maris Government School, and you spent 33 years at the St. Peter's Anglican School, and also you led the development of a special needs center. And lastly, you are the wife of the Prime Minister as well. So you have done all of these things within your life, and you definitely have seen a lot of families, and you've dealt with a lot of children, So that is why, I wanted to ask you, based on your experience, what do you see about the family structure in Belize?
As a principal, I had a very good opportunity to deal with parents and families on a daily basis. And the family structure in Belize, as I've seen it and I've experienced, we have a lot of single parents, some single fathers that had to raise their daughters and their children. Of course, most of the single parent structure were women leading the families. We also had a lot of extended families where we had a lot of grandparents living in the same household, uncles, aunts, which could be a little bit chaotic sometimes because there's so many things going on for that child. And then, of course, we had children living with grandparents raising their children, either because the mom had to go to another district or another country because for a job opportunity, or both parents leaving to go to the United States or any other country for job opportunities. So we saw a lot of grandparents now raising their children.
And this is
their grandchildren.
Grandparents raising their grandchildren. Yes. So that's a very curious situation, because then you wouldn't think that people are motivated to actually do the things that you do. So what motivated you even to get into the special needs or even being a principal and all of these things?
Well, I found my calling very early. Fresh out of high school at 18, I kind of pushed into teaching. I didn't have a choice at that time. And my experience at Stella Maris really opened my eyes to the fact and to the reality that these children needed a lot. Belize at that time, we were just coming up. Special education was new, the terms, but we have always had these children. And we didn't know how to. And I think the principal at the time tried a lot. And we had very little opportunities for scholarships and going away until we had. And then we obviously took advantage of those opportunities. But I felt that once I had that experience teaching, I knew that that was my calling. I just felt it. I was driven by it. I became passionate. I still am. And just to make their lives better. And the same passion I took to St. Peter's Anglican School, and that's where I really was able to work along with my team, along with my staff, along with my colleagues, to ensure that our special education center was providing the support not only for the children but for the parents. And it also helped me to ensure that our teachers were trained and ready. So every practical or academic studies or whatever I did, I would bring it back to the school and pass it on.
It's amazing to say that, because then the thing is, like, for example, our community, our motto is love for all and hatred for none. And this action that you did is just basically that motivation, that you want to show love to people, because then the thing is that as a special needs child, they can't really give you anything back other than the fact that they appreciate your work. So this is that's an amazing thing to say, that you're doing this because it just motivated you. And when you were talking to me off screen, you were telling me that you felt emotional when you first started to work with them, and then the principal told you that don't get emotional, do your best to help them. And I'm really like, this is a thing that you rarely see, that people say, I just felt that I needed to help them, and I'm going to dedicate my life to do so. So I do hope and pray that God Almighty blesses you for that wonderful and selfless act that you did. So we did speak about the situation of the family structure, and you said that it's mainly single parents, mostly single mothers. You also said single fathers and extended families. Usually the grandparents raising the grandchildren. So, what would be like the challenges that we face to improve the situation?
I think it has a lot to do with the situation that we find ourselves in. For these parents, I'm sure that they felt that they didn't have a choice, that they are trying to do the best that they can to provide for their children, even if it means leaving and finding other opportunities. So I think poverty has a lot to do with it. The vicious cycle too of that lack of support that we feel that we need, especially when it comes to trying to make the ends meet, and the prices that go up and fluctuate, and we try to have price control, but everybody does their own thing in Belize. Which is sad, and that's where the check and balance needs to come in. But I think also many times some factors that that have huge impacts, that when our young people get together, and we call it we know that it's called early unions, and a lot of this happened after COVID.
Yes.
We lost so many of our young people because they got into an early union or they got married. And we're talking about 15 to 19-year-olds.
Really?
That's the highest percentage that we have found in Belize, that so many young people find themselves in current marriage situations, and many times these unions don't last. After the first child is born, the second child comes, it's overwhelming. You don't have an education. How are you going to provide for your children? So a lot of these things happen, and they break up the families. Then the mom is left single, or the dad is left as a single parent for lack of opportunities, education opportunities. And that's what we find when these things happen, that because they didn't finish high school, well, maybe they did, but in some cases they didn't, they dropped out, or they didn't continue their education. The level of education has a lot to do with making the family structure work in terms of providing for your families. feeling safe in the families. Child safety is a big issue right now.
Definitely.
And when things happen and go wrong in the family, sometimes parents have to make a decision that you have to leave. And then the children are the ones that suffer the consequences. So it's poverty, it's lack of education. Sometimes it's lack of access to education. Not like I said, you find yourselves in situations sometimes that you just can't see yourself going back to school. Or if the opportunity is there, there's still the issue of caring for your family. So what do I have? What choice will I make? Do I go to school or I take care of my family?
Sure.
Most people would say, well, my family needs me. But then when you look at the flip side, how will I take care of my family if I'm not prepared? I can't get a good job, a better job.
Yes.
You know? So,
And it's true, like even high school diplomas are actually becoming less and less, important. If you don't have like a college education or a sixth form education at least, then it seems as though like you've reached a threshold. You will not move away from there. So I 100% agree. I think we do have some street talks that we did. Went out and we asked these our fellow Belizeans their perspective on the said topic. So if we can also look at that, and then we can come back to our conversation.
La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I'm standing here with
Walaikum salam. Aisha Leah.
Kieran Gabriel.
Trisha Jones.
Denzel Wade.
Today we were talking about like the family. So what are your views on the family structure in Belize?
The dynamics on families are very different. It depends on what you're looking at.
The two most common family structures in Belize are the neutral family and the single parent family.
I believe the family structure in Belize is basically hanging Bradshaw.
You do have, mother-father households, but it's mainly single parent and extended, where the grandparents take care of the grandchildren or the great-grandparents take care of the, great-grandchildren and stuff like that. Mainly matriarchal though.
We understand that they have certain situations in Belize that we have social ills. And particularly because of a single parent or a single mother situation, we might say that it could affect the child. Like based on your opinion and views upon what you see in Belize, do you think that the single mother household kind of like affect children?
Many different ways. I do believe that it's so important for a child to be raised with their the father and the mother, that have so many developmental benefits.
It depends on the structure, because you could have a single mother household and you could have male figures involved in the house.
There are households where the father lives within the house, but he's abusive, he's addicted to various substances, stuff like that, and then that still affects the children even more.
Some mothers, they're very, very strong and they have the mother and father role hot down. But for the mothers who don't, they face a lot of challenges with their children.
You need that stern individual in the house. You need that provider. You need that role that the father represents. And with that being absent, it kind of puts off the balance in a household. Not saying that you have to have a mother and a father, but having that dad presence there, kind of establishes, a more harmonious relationship.
With a single parent household, there are many gaps with like social development, emotional development, and all these are skills that the child will have to navigate on its own.
If a mother has 5 children and let's say the oldest is in high school, the youngest is going to preschool, the oldest child have to take care of all these children while she goes out to work, then that child does not live a life of a teenager that she could go and hang with friends. That child has to be, when that mother leaves, she becomes the parent.
If they were to just mention the phrase, you'll be the man of the household, then that forces the young boy to mature at a pretty early level and go out to catch and kill, to hustle, because he needs to ensure that his mother is taken care of, which is huge responsibility to put on an individual that doesn't have those capabilities to be able to be that provider.
when you have one single parent home, especially with a single mother, there are challenges being faced that, it is horrendous. Some mothers, as I say, have it pat down where they want to be the disciplinarian and they want to instill fear in one child, that one child would have never go out and cuss on teacher or cuss on neighbor or want to fight, because they know that when they get home for them, will put down the law upon them.
So, what challenges are we facing when it comes to improving the family structure in Belize? What do you think are the challenges? Main challenges?
Well, I feel like the foundational challenge is the erosion of traditional gender roles. You say this and a lot of people cringe.
Yeah.
But I do feel that, just while it's so important for a woman to take up space, to lead and to grow, it's also equally important for a man to, take up active roles in his society, in his workplace, in his household.
Yeah. Men are lacking the motivation that they need to better themselves.
I think that even the identity, they don't even know what is a man, right?
Yeah.
So I feel like that challenges that identity.
Well, we have a lot of different mechanisms in place, but I think what is needed is that all of these mechanisms, all of these NGOs, these organizations, governmental institutions should come together and pool all of the resources together rather than reinventing the wheel or one person being in charge of the initiative. Everyone needs to come together, because if you come together, then you can be able to use your resources to take care of, if not one, multiple issues on different fronts.
So yeah, that was the feedback on the streets. A lot of them agreed with you in regards to the fact that there's single parent households and also extended families. And some of them even said that the men, they're not they don't know their identity, or even they're not stepping up to that the plate. But you also said very interesting points as well, that I did not know that there's early unions happening as well, and the biggest thing within our faith of Islam is that the men should be the providers, and how are we going to provide if we do not have the education to do so? And for example, some of us lack the life skills to actually, when you decide to live with someone, then you should also be able to say that, this is my person. I have decided to live with that person, so I should do my best to show kindness, to show love. Within our faith, it says that, how can you expect your wife to be righteous if you, as a man, you're not righteous? You should do your best to provide an example, right? For example, within a household, two people can't be fired. One has to be the water. And within our faith, it says that the man should try to do their best to be that water for that relationship. I'm not saying that the woman cannot be that, but
in my Bible it says that you need to love the men need to love themselves as God loves them.
Yes, definitely.
So if you love your wife, you will never hurt her.
That's very true.
You will never do anything to break her or to make her cry.
Definitely.
So we need to look at the dynamics of what the Bible says or the
Holy Quran.
The Holy Quran.
I think it's the same thing it's saying, even the Holy Quran says that you have to treat them with kindness, that they are your garments, so you are the garment of your spouse. So what does a garment do? It protects you from the cold of the outside. It gives you that warmth. It gives you that love. So I 100% agree with that statement from the Bible as well. As a Muslim, I also have to believe in the Bible, and so this is a wonderful thing. And so just to continue the conversation, they were saying that there are certain struggles and their idea. What do you feel that in regards to they said that the solution would be to have men step up, or
I think the ideal would be the nuclear family, where you have a father and a mom, a mother. The reality is we still have those in these. We still have quite a number of nuclear families. But I think what caught my attention there in the interviews was what one of the men said. Also, that now we have young people stepping up to that role, that father role, because father isn't there. There's so many children in the home. Mother has to go to work, so he has to step up and be the man of the house. Totally agree that sometimes, no, most of the time, that jump starts them to be more independent quickly, to mature even faster, so they don't enjoy their youth. And then it becomes this vicious cycle, because what he is getting at home, then that's what he will give out. And that's what it is really. Even if you have a father in the home and he's abusive and he's he beats up the kids and the wife, this is what the children are getting. So in their little brains, in their little minds, it's okay, and mom doesn't go. Mom stays for the next meeting. So it's okay. So this is what they're learning. So children learn everything at home, and then they behavior is they give out what they've learned, which is not really the way it should be. And this is where the NGOs and all that the gentleman was saying, yes, I agree with him. They need to come together, pull together their resources, because you can't work in silos. You can't work in isolation, because then you're just doing the same thing over and over. You're not reaching and solving, putting a solution in place. So I think this is where we can do so much. The NGOs can do a lot more to put in some more social programs to deal with the social issues that our young people are growing up with, because the whole structure of the family is not the perfect family. There's no they live happily ever after kind of fairy tale ending, you know. It's real. The struggle is real out there for our young people, for our moms, for our dads. And just like I said, it would be ideal if we had the perfect family structure, but it's non-existent.
Definitely true. You know, like there is the situation of both men and women being in a relationship. I think there should be an emphasis on the fact that we shouldn't, like, just because of small problems, you should be like, okay, I'm done.
Right.
I think you give up too easily on that fact. That you know, you try to say that you fall in love quickly and then you fall out of love quickly. You know, getting to know that person, understanding that person, and being like, okay, I need to make critical decisions because this is a very, very important decision in my life. You know, so having that union with someone before you have that union and get into that situation, I think that it's very, very important that they have that basically that good mind to make a critical decision at these critical moments in life.
I agree. I think when people decide to get married, it's because they have reached that level of maturity. So, you know what, I'm ready to spend the rest of my life with this person. Not just because, oh, she's beautiful or he's so handsome and that immediate attraction. It's more than that.
Should be more than that.
It should be more than that, because you're thinking about spending the rest of your life with this person, and then with one little hiccup or one thing that went wrong, oh, you're done. And I mean, you can't do that. You shouldn't do that.
You know? Because within our faith, it says that when you get married, there's 4 things that you should look into the person that you're with. Yes, there's beauty. Yes, there's wealth. Yes, there's family, but the most important thing is righteousness. Because beauty is faltering. It can go away. With age, it will go away.
Of course.
Wealth in itself, you know, some days you will be wealthy, one day you may lose it all. And your family will never always be there with you.
That's true.
But the righteousness, that thing within your heart, that goodness within your heart, that is always going to be there, right? And so with that, you know, making that the most important thing.
Putting righteousness in perspective. I'm thinking here out loud is your belief and your attitudes. Many of our young people, like I said earlier, they will live what they experience. We hang on to traditions. We hang on to cultural beliefs. I think it's amazing that Belizeans can enjoy and they still keep and hold on to their cultural beliefs and traditions. But if it's a tradition or something that is harmful, then we need to rethink.
Let go of those.
Let it go. And it's about your attitude. It's about the mindset that you have. Because some people we say, oh, they're set in their ways. Everybody has an opportunity to change their mindsets. But it has to do with their beliefs, their righteousness, as you said, that they want to make that difference. So you may have to, at some point, say, you know what, well, this isn't working for me right now, and this is not the example that I want to give my boys, my daughter. My daughter will say, well, if he doesn't love me, he's not beating me, what's happening? Because I see this at home and mom doesn't go, she stays. So it's normal. And we definitely need to change that, because now in modern days, I think more women are opening up, they're awakening, and they're realizing it's not just 50-50. We want to give 100%. Each of us have to give 100% to make this relationship work, to make this family work, that it stays together, and that we can give what we can give, everything that we can give to our children to make them successful in their lives in the future.
I 100% agree. You know, yesterday I was even speaking to some of the people, and you know, within our faith, as a man, it says that we have a duty to provide. It's basically the responsibility that God has given to us. So, for example, me working within my household, I have to deal with the bills. I have to deal with all of these things, right? School, hospital, all of these things. These are my responsibility. Now, the woman on the whole, she doesn't have to do that, right? She's working, that money is for her.
I want a man like that.
So, no problem, but this is the same reaction that she gave, you know, that I did not notice. And but this is what God Almighty has told us to do. That you are the provider, you are the one. You say that, okay, I am the leader of the household, then you must be the leader. So this is why, for example, within I would say like in the French Revolution, they killed the king because he wasn't listening to his subjects. So what we have to do as men is to provide financially, provide emotionally, and be that example for spiritual growth.
But what if that is not happening? What happens then?
Then that person is not fulfilling their role. And then now that is where that person has to rethink what they're doing and then change. Because the only constant is change. And this is why, like, for example, I grew up in basically a single parent household for a while. And I did have a stepfather, but I still do feel as though like I needed a better example as a man. And what I found within my faith was the lessons that I've seen from the founder of our faith, the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him. But then, just so that we don't go and speak so long about this, one of the persons in the interviews, he says that, and you agreed that the NGOs should work together. I'm sure that you have done so many different things. Like, so what are like the different initiatives that you're doing right now within Belize that I'm sure the Belizeans probably don't know of, and you're doing such wonderful work in Belize?
Okay, so I do not work in isolation. That's the first thing that I need to put on the table. My office is not an office that provides service. We don't have anything to give in terms of services or monetary donations. We work, we try to, as best as we can. We do fundraisings, but it's all in with advocacy, and it's all in collaboration with the other party that needs support. I find that I work very closely with the Ministry of Human Development, where all the social issues are supposed to be taken care of. So I collaborate very closely with the directors, the CEO, the minister, and many times people would come to the office or they would send messages or ask for support. And I will not pretend that I have all the answers. I will not even say to them that I can do this on my own. No, it's done in collaboration with the Ministry of Human Development. I also work very closely with the Ministry of Health when it comes to cervical cancer awareness and prevention. I work with any ministry that is willing to support and needs some kind of advocacy, because that's what the office is.
Definitely.
Advocacy.
Yes.
And so when it comes to initiatives, I know for a fact that the Ministry of Human Development, in collaboration with the AG, they're working very, very hard to on the Marriage Act, the Family Act per se, and combining it to strengthen it so that our women or children know what their rights are. They know how to access services. They need to know what services are there for their protection and their safety. Because a lot of times, and I've come to realize that our Belizean people don't know that we have services in Belize. And this is where I use my office as a platform. We use social media, come a long way with social media. I have a young staff and they're very keen into the whole TikTok and Instagram and things. I'm still trying to catch up.
Yeah.
But we realize that that's where people look for information. And whether it's good or bad information, so we try to send out positive information, education.
Yes.
We try to educate our families, our children, our men, how to get help for mental health, where to go for support with domestic violence, with gender-based violence, how to access the HPV vaccines, for example, when it comes to cervical cancer.
Yes.
How to get support in just being safe as a woman. We have homes, we have shelters.
Yes.
How to get to these, who to call for help.
Yes.
You know, and that's what I found out, that if our Belizeans don't know, they can't get the help that they need.
And I agree, and we'll do our best to also share this information with as much people as we possibly can.
Thank you.
After the show, we'll definitely get that information.
Yes.
And try to share it on our pages and everything. And even I would like to know, because the other day I was, one of my friends, he had a baby, and I did not know that he got so much help from Social Security. I was like, how do you even know this? He said, how don't you know this? I was like, man, I was
But
like,
men are also entitled to paternity leave, you know.
I see these are the things that I don't know.
And many men don't know.
Yeah, so this is great information, and I really do hope that we can help to also share this information with all those in Belize, you know, because I think the biggest thing is the fact that we don't know what's happening, and then we feel that nothing is happening.
Exactly.
But that's just misinformation, you know. Okay. So we'll try to do our best to actually help you, spread this.
Wonderful.
So with that, I think that we will close off this wonderful episode with you, Mrs. Rossana Briceno. I do hope and I pray that every single work that you do is blessed, and that you and your family and your husband is also blessed for all the hard work that you're doing. Thank you so much for joining us, and I do hope and I pray again that all the works are successful.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure having this conversation with you.
Thank you
Today.
La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. La ilaha illallah